The worst thing about being at public school, and especially about being at Eton, is that you become cut off from the real world. It's like being in a monastery, you're very enclosed. When you go into town, it's a bit like going abroad. You try desperately to fit in, but the people consider you as some sort of upper-class freak. It's quite sad, really.
Well, you can tell an Italian from a mile off.
A snob. My mum says they're snobs, but then that's not fair because like, a lot of them aren't, but because, you know...
Because of the image, yeah, but say that, that's good, say that.
But that's, you know...
And the tails, I mean, they're so pointless now.
Tell you what's happened in my life. I've gone to posh little school from 5 to 8, and then I went to prep school, and then I went to Eton. My father said when he left Eton that he wouldn't send his children to Eton.
Because he doesn't know anything else, really, does he?
Well, no, it's not. It wasn't that. It was because he felt he couldn't not send me to Eton. This is schoolyard. This is the main bit.
God. Is this where the Queen came?
Yeah, the Queen stood on that step over there.
Stand there, go. This is where the Queen stood.
And that's the founder, the bloke who made Eton, bless his soul.
Yeah, you had to walk on a certain side of the founder.
You're not allowed to walk the wrong way around the front because you've got to defend him with your sword.
How many rolls have you got then?
About 100.
Endless rules.
Oh my God. Yeah, but what is
Books about that.
It's a book about this bigger rules.
It's very easy to scoff at tradition, but actually tradition is a tremendous strength.
Do you go to the Scottish country dancing on Sunday nights?
Well, actually, the mistress, the dancing teacher from...
We've never assumed that an academic education is enough of itself. And those of us who teach at Eton do so, I think, because we feel that we are dealing not just with boys' minds, but with people's personalities. But I think that in a boarding school you do learn quite a lot about human nature by living together with other people. And I would hope that a boy would leave Eton with quite a good understanding of other people, and also, of course, with some of the values by which good men have lived in the past.
Eton is said to turn out these great individuals that stride forth and lead the nation. What it actually does is a factory churning out the same sort of people over and over again. And very few people, because of the restrictions placed on them by the school, manage to break out of the mould that's imposed upon them.
People kind of say, oh, well, I'm going to be individual, I'm going to stand out. But you suddenly find it's just much easier to conform. It's just much easier just because, you know, there's so much pressure. Everyone else does it. And
after, 550 years of being told how it's the best school in the world, it believes it and expects you to be part of the best school in the world. If you don't conform, eventually you'll end up being thrown out. The school doesn't care because it takes 2 seconds for them to pull someone in who will conform and take your place.
Stand by the switch on, wait a minute.
What? Socks.
Those are to go in, those are home things, those are the bottom drawer.
Okay, switch it on, see if that works.
Phew.
A tailcoat hanging up in a bag downstairs on a rail. I mean, where is the other tailcoat?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, better get it then.
Where's he gone on now?
When do we put up our posters?
This, actually, we've got the wrong way round. So
a thing, do it the wrong way away. Which is
So we'll be doing that in a few minutes' time. But the main thing is this tailcoat. Have you lost
well,
one?
we've got, yes, Billings and Edmonds seem to be very on the ball, and they were all hanging
Oh, yeah,
up.
they were all there?
Yes, they were all
But
there.
in that case, the tailcoat that's in the other house is another we will call him on.
Well, I mean, we'd be very happy to, if you all recognise.
Hello.
Good to see you. Well, I know, and here we are. This is, yes, yes, Rupert, who is starting. Oh, that's terrific. Yes, it's nice to have moral support, isn't it?
Yes. My study in 2 minutes? My study in 2 minutes? So cheer up. It's not going to be torture, it's going to be fun. Right, better say bye-bye. Well, we'll see you all the time.
When they first left, I felt a bit sad, a bit scared. Just kind of sense that you had to just make your own way now.
If we just stop here for a moment. This building that you can see here is School Hall. Now, if you look in your timetables, you'll notice you're all going to School Hall tomorrow morning. Do you see what it is? The headmaster is going to talk to you tomorrow in this very large building.
Now we put the stud in first, in the back, through that little gap, do you see? So that the flat piece is on the inside, because that goes against your neck. And you fix the collar from the inside like that. Now we get the front stud, then the collar of that side next. There we are. And then that tucks down. And at the end of all that, it should look like that. And that's what you look like in the morning when it's on.
Splendid. Don't leave the office till you've seen it, please. Ready? Yeah. Next, please. Good. Can you get the collar inside your coat, please? Okay. Fine. Yeah. Well, it's a little bit better. It's brown. Well done. That's it. Good. Now, towards the camera, please. No, not yet.
New boys are processed pretty quickly in the first couple of days.
Don't leave the office till you've seen it.
It's the same for everybody. Except over in college, where the King's Scholars have some sort of secret ceremony. At least that's what they say, but the rest of us have never seen it.
Ego Martinus Michael Carolus, Barrow Chartist Amis Field, Praepositus Huiusque Collegi.
It's not a secret ceremony at all. In fact, it's the first opportunity for the new collegers to meet the provost. These are the cleverest boys at Eton and are officially accepted into the foundation by him, and he employs a Latin citation which is supposed to include words used by Henry VI.
Per Jesum Christum Dominum Nostrum. Amen.
It means something roughly along the lines that you should be good and truthful, and when you've grown up, we hope you'll be of service to God and the state.
Giul Shake. In numrum scholarium regiorem collegi doculis et vericundus et casti integrequi ad lescens into equalis tuus. Ut tandem, ex scholare disciplinae vadas, caevis honestus sec patria utilis, ad meorem Dei gloriam per Jesum Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen. That's it. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And congratulations on becoming collegers in the 550th anniversary of the foundation of the college. And you go back in direct descent to the original foundation of Henry VI, just as I do. And I hope you all have an absolutely marvelous time here. And I may say, I think you're very lucky to be in college.
Tibi laus et gloria et gratia rumatio, Ote Sancta Trinitas, tibi laus.
There's more ceremony and ritual in college, but given that it's the oldest part of Eton, that's hardly surprising. And the fact is, we really rather enjoy it. Spiritum, dum
Deus vita regit, quando nox sepulcra tegit, ut et sancta Trinitas, tibi laus et gloria, laudemus in saecula, laudemus in saecula. Amen. Amen.
But someone coming to Eton who's paying the full fees wouldn't get much change out of £10,000 a year. But the parents of a King's Scholar would pay a maximum of half fees. And if the parents feel that they have a good case for further support, then this is always forthcoming from the school. So we find that quite a large number of boys in college are paying virtually nothing at all. In order to get to Eton, boys have to pass the common entrance exam or do very well on the scholarship exam. But Eton is a very wealthy institution, and about 20% of all boys at Eton gain some form of financial support from the school.
I reckon my cooking career really took off when I realised that the frying pan was out and the casserole was in. That was his first step.
Okay, so this is College Hall. Let's go. What I would like to do is to show you one little tiny thing down there.
Oh, wait, it's all kind of whistling. Sometimes.
Yeah, then you fall backwards and hit your wickets.
Yeah, that's right.
If you come through here, I want you to come to this wall. Now, if you'd like to gather round, come round, everybody. Can you see this panel here? Now, you remember I said to you that Queen Elizabeth used to come here and watch plays before Shakespeare. Well, when she came, she liked to give the boys presents. And if you actually see this, Queen Elizabetha, can you read that? That's in Latin. Ad nos. What does ad nos mean? To us. That's right. Gave. Can you read that? October 10. That's right, 10. 2 loaves in a mess. 1596. Now, what is a mess? What is a mess? It's like tea, because you're all in messes, aren't you? Even though you're not in college. This was written by a boy in 1596.
Mr. Meredith showed us where all our schoolrooms were for the next day, where the chapel was and where all the game fields were. There are so many, and it's quite hard to find.
You always feel at the beginning of the term that this time everything is possible, and people come back very much inclined to feel that this is a fresh start. I very much enjoy the start of the Michaelmas half, because it is the beginning of everything again.
Come in. It's concerning Miss Florence trip. I think you got a letter from our housemaster.
We got to arrive in Florence in time to, you know, find where we're going to stay.
Because if we take the later plane, we'll get caught up in the middle of France.
It's the day on which long leave starts,
yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. What I wasn't clear from your letter was what is the purpose of the trip? Is this a project for A-level
History
art?
of art. I mean, it's just
history of art. They're all very keen on it down in the history of art.
You've got a whole week of long leave. Why do you need an extra day?
Well, it's just really, I mean, just for the flights, really, because, well...
Because the flight that we'd have to miss probably the whole of
You'd
the...
have to miss the whole morning, I think.
Yeah.
So I must say what you wrote seemed a very good scheme, so I think I'll say yes.
Okay, right, thank you very much,
You can
sir.
tell your housemaster.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
We are a privileged school. We're very lucky. We have wonderful buildings. We have a very good staff. We have a very good tradition, which helps tremendously. It would be quite wrong if we aimed to be anything other than a very good academic school. So we do pay a lot of attention to that. We do expect boys to work hard, and we do expect masters to teach well and hard.
I'd like to start by welcoming very much the new boys who are here this morning.
It's certainly been traditional at Eton to educate the whole man. I think it's probably only in the last 30 years or so that the academic part of that education has been considered as important as it now is.
May I suggest that you write a very brief note to the lower master, if he's prepared to accept them, and he and I will see that any ideas you have are considered along with the others. And I'd like to tell you all about the changes in the teaching staff, just so that you know who people are, if any of them teach you.
Gentlemen, I have great pleasure in introducing you to Tanaka-san, who is joining us from Musashi High School in Tokyo. First Japanese teacher here. Tanaka-san.
Nice to meet you. You must be proud of yourself. You are the first 16 boys who took up something Eton has been ignorant of for 550 years, okay? Now, when I call your name, please answer, hi. Hi, in Japanese, okay? Hi. Hi. This means yes, yes. So raise your hand and hi. How do I pronounce this name?
Who do you trust? Do you trust the flatterers, Bushy, Bagot and Green? What if a pretty girl comes up to you and says, oh, I really love you, Charles? Well, you can't really trust her, can you? I mean, you might think she looks very beautiful, you might say she's fine, but suppose she wants to be queen, you know? It's a very tricky situation. Now, this is the situation that Shakespeare is beginning to introduce to us in Richard II.
Meanwhile, Louis XVIII hauled himself into his corsets and vamoosed quickly across the Belgian frontier. It wasn't a very good recommendation for the Bourbon succession. Instead of standing firm, he sent Ney off to bring Bonaparte back in a cage. Instead of that, Ney, of course, joined him, and meanwhile, Louis XVIII took refuge in Belgium.
There is a characteristic tension about Eton, which is that it is clearly a school with a great history and a great tradition, which is avid to be part of the modern world.
Yes. Slide it up to the edge there. Lock the clamp. Now go all the way up to 40 on the calibrated scale. Okay?
Discount.
It gave it to me. I promise.
Thing to do, cancel that window you've got showing now. Lift your mouse up, move it forward on the table.
It's quite easy, but I have to do 4 lots of work each night or something like that. Or 3. So it's quite a lot of work. But it's not too bad, really.
I like rugby instead of football because I play. And work-wise, I mean, there's a lot to do, but then you've got to work hard to do well, so it's good.
They said us lots of work. In your old school, you were told what to do, and there were set times to do it. But here, you just do your work when you want to.
There is a lot too much work here. I think definitely too much work. I mean, you get so much of it.
For a lot of people, the frustration that can be caused by being shut up all the time and not being able to express yourself, not being able to do what any other person of your age would probably be doing, is that your work suffers.
Once you're in sixth form, you'd expect to be treated more grown up and have more to look forward to.
We are still treated like 12-year-olds in that we're locked up in our houses every night.
I mean, I was quite looking forward to sort of things like TAP. I mean, TAP I found is a bit of a huge anticlimax. It's full of endless people talking about football and talking about what beer they're drinking.
Foster's, please. And you get loads of young boys to fun. You pervert. What's that? 8, 6. It's disgusting. 6. We can't here. Is it going to cost something? No, seriously. Just John just said to her, no, she's doing great favours. James, go around. Really poor.
Still haven't been selected.
again.
I used to be at a state school, and quite honestly, we weren't too happy with what they were teaching. So my parents looked into other schools that I could get through music scholarships. And we discovered Eton. So I took a music scholarship, and they said they would give me a place.
Take it from the animal, Tom. Yeah. What speed do you take this?
It's very fast.
So you get it absolutely?
Yeah. When I first came, I didn't realise when you're in the lowest block, you're really sort of the under people, and you're sort of expected to do all the nasty jobs and things.
You've gone into off tempo.
Oh.
That's only twice that speed. You've suddenly gone into half speed. Try it again.
As I'd come from a state school, that's quite unusual. My accent wasn't quite sort of what they were used to, so they weren't too keen. When I go home, I see all my best friends, and they tell me that my accent's changed. When I first arrived here, it was very hard work. At the old school, it just wasn't. You know, it was sort of 9 till 3. You can go home, nothing else for the rest of the evening.
The place where you always get in the wrong place.
But here, it's just all day work.
The second time, so we're not doing the repeat. Okay? 1, 2.
I play for the first orchestra, the first band, a big band, a brass group, and I sing in the choir. And occasionally you get plays which need music accompaniments, so I do those as well. There's a lot of sports you can do here, it's just I don't have time because of music.
Right, now you can swim, can you, Rupert?
Yeah, I hope
sure?
So. This is the test.
Do you know what you've got to do?
No, you've got to do 3 lengths, haven't you?
You've got to dive in or jump in, swim down to the end, turn around, come back on your front. So that's 2 lengths on your front.
Yeah.
And then when I say go, you swim 1 length on your back. It's easiest to do a sculling stroke, keeping your hands beneath the water, otherwise you sink. Down to the end, climb out, and if you do all that, you've passed. So in your own time, there's no race. Off you go. It's easier doing breaststroke, Rupert.
It took me about a month to feel at home and to settle in. Probably a month, so you could go downstairs and talk to the older boys. If they asked you a question, you could answer it without kind of feeling, oh, I mustn't say this, I mustn't say that.
Keep doing breaststroke, it's easier.
I enjoy the sport most, because that's what I'm naturally quite good at. I'm not very bright by the standards here, but I enjoy sport, because there's lots of things to do.
OK, just tread water there. Is that easy?
Sorry?
Is it easy?
Yeah, quite. Tiring.
How's the football going? You going to get in the team?
Yeah, I think a team, but...
Which one?
C3. Hopefully.
You've got to be going for C1, hopefully.
I know. But I wasn't told. I didn't really get much chance.
Right. On your back to the end, and remember, keep your hands under the water. It's a lot easier.
Most people at Eton are members of a club or society of some kind. My friend Tom's just taken over as editor of the Arts Review magazine. He's got really interesting plans for it.
I mean, it's not smutty. It's just a boy's sense of humour. We tried to get interviews which boys would find interesting. We got an interview with Ridley Scott, the film director, and that was really good. Right now, I'm going to interview Dr. Boyd, the school psychiatrist.
I'm actually a psychiatrist who is specialized in child and adolescent psychiatry. That's my background. And for many years I worked with adolescents in a residential unit at one of the teaching hospitals in London. Sometimes the very young boys, when they first come to this school, feel pretty daunted by the size of the place, and they feel rather incapable of coping. Some youngsters are frankly very homesick at the start and really don't want to be at this school, and that's a difficult one. Then it goes on to the middle range of the school, who can get involved in difficulties like drinking too much alcohol or even experimenting with drugs and wanting to talk about this to a very neutral person who they know will not pass the information on because they're obviously a bit scared to talk to anybody else about it.
How do you normally deal with most of your boys' problems? I mean, the most common ones, do you just talk them out? And...
What I try to do at first is to understand really what is bugging the boy, so to speak, what's upsetting him. And when I can get to the bottom of that, and I can explain it back to him, he then begins to recognize it and says, yes, that's right, that is how I feel, that is what it's all about.
In the middle of every morning, masters gather in chambers, as it's called. It's really necessary because there are something like 136 masters, and the only way of getting information around is either to send 136 notes or to gather people together once a day. As far as I'm concerned, the most useful 25 minutes of my day.
Having to go to the door. And at the meeting this afternoon, I'm proposing to raise it, if that's all right.
Non, c'est ce que je cherchais justement, et il n'y a pas moyen. J'ai l'impression qu'il est pas.
Might I remind heads of departments that we have the head of departments meeting at 2:15 this afternoon in the Millington Drake room. I've been talking with the headmaster of Winchester about the Eton-Winchester match, which, as you know, has taken place at Winchester at their request for several years now, because it's their festive day. They would now like to revert to the old system whereby we play home and away on alternate years. And talking of home and away, the headmasters' conference is in Aberdeen this year. And I shall be away on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
As far as the boys are concerned, they know that there is one moment in the day, too, when they can find any master with whom they may have a moment of business, and if they gather on the pavement outside School Hall, he will come through those doors very, very, very quickly. So it's a very useful thing for boys as well. The boys, I'm told, believe that the masters have a sybaritic time in chambers, either drinking port or sherry. I'm afraid that that's absolutely untrue. It's all much more mundane. The masters simply circulate around, and by long tradition, if you want to speak to a master, you grab the sleeve of his gown, which, as it were, establishes your place in the queue. And occasionally, of course, you'll see one master with somebody holding onto his gown and somebody else holding onto the gown of the other master. Rather quaint.
There's a list of names, sir, and the money box with the most money.
Yes, all right.
Good man, sir.
I know. We got an interview with Dr. Boyd, the school psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And have you heard anything from the head man?
No, not yet. I haven't. No, I imagine he'll probably write back to you.
Okay, and what do we do about getting people to type out the...
Well, last half we had someone on the job all the time, and we actually paid them to do it as well.
Right.
But the terms are negotiable. Okay. I think James Hall knows how to use one of the word processors. You could ask him.
You know that, mate.
It's a JOK you said in your letter.
Are they being taken down at the moment?
Who took them down?
It's the headmaster. No, I think they're fine.
But how many did you have up?
I saw quite a few
up. I had 6 up here. Guildford was looking here for about 15 minutes trying to
They
rip
probably
them down.
enjoyed it. Depends what sort of thing you're into, I guess.
Do you think they'll take them all down?
If the headmaster's in,
Will they take them all down?
I don't know, I'll talk to them about it maybe.
And that represents adultery about to happen. Now,
The implication there is it wrong heterosexual sex? When you come to this side, you get the alternative, which is effeminacy of varying kinds. So you have the castrato singer, a eunuch, singing away to the accompaniment.
It looks like there's trouble over Tom's posters. Somebody's been taking them down, and he's now on the bill for it. That means he's got to go and see the headmaster.
The beauty of a boy's voice and the power of a man.
Chapel has always been important at Eton. Indeed, when Henry VI founded the school, the chapel was every bit as much in his mind as the provision of education for the 70 scholars he was going to train to become leaders in church and state. It's still important today. I won't for 1 minute pretend that all Etonians are godly any more than other young people. Some are fairly hostile to religion. The vast majority are prepared to be persuaded. Remembrance Sunday is a big occasion at Eton. It's one of those occasions where the whole community comes together.
Going down in the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
But that's the whole lot, is it? Syndicate 5?
Excuse me, why is number 5 number 13?
Come on, mate, let's go.
Got the number. What number are you, Sunshine? 6. 6. I'm for 16. Who's number 5?
OK, listen in. When I give you go, what I want you to do is I want you to go in between the Land Rover and this blue van here touch the wall to the rear over there, and I want you formed up, or as you were, stood on your chair in the classroom. You know where that is. Last person, 20 press-ups. Stand by. I'm touching that wall first. Go! Where you go? Come on, move it. Let's go. Don't knock me over. Prove yourself, you. These mates should already be filled. Come on, let's go. Come on, you should already be filled.
I think you're winning. Go.
Unload.
Wait.
So let's go.
Get ready. The rain. Don't stop. The rain. The rain is the next, guys. Go. No.
Come on, we slow down. Come on, we slow down, please. Left, right. And 1, 2, 3, 1.
Don't smile. It's not funny. It's pathetic.
People think there's an Eton type, but that's not really true. There's two types of Etonian, if anything. There's the sort of meathead macho sport guy who goes to TAP and joins the cadet force. And there's the arty type who wouldn't be seen dead on a playing field. And of course, some people are a combination of both, but not me. I tried the wash and that didn't work. Well,
I like the wash when you had that blue wash.
No, but the blue was too blue, I thought.
Okay.
And then I've tried the plain white and that didn't work, so I'm just seeing what the plaster looks like. And if I don't do that, I might move from a blue on the outside into a brown.
It's all right.
Well, what do you think, texture or white?
I think you need texture of some kind.
Cold.
Oh, a cold colour to emphasise the warmth of this.
Right.
Okay.
What do you mean by putting up a poster like that? Do you actually think that's the right thing to do?
Not really. I know it's bad, and I know it's wrong of me because I break schools and stuff. And but it was really the only way of getting attention for the magazine.
And is your magazine going to be similar to the poster that you put up?
No, not at all.
Well, aren't you then guilty, if nothing else, of false pretenses and trying to pretend to the school you're publishing a magazine advertised by nudes?
The only way to get people to subscribe is to put out a risque advertising campaign. And really...
It's simply quite unacceptable. You've plastered this all over every public place in Eton. It's a poster described to me by various people as obscene or pornographic, and even if it's not that, it's certainly in very poor taste. You've broken innumerable school rules in putting up your poster. What I'm more worried about, and I think this probably means the end of the Arts Review, what I'm more worried about is that you don't seem to acknowledge that that poster was unacceptable. You merely say that you think, for some reason, that it would inspire more people to subscribe, and it doesn't seem to me that you in the least mind about it.
I know we do. When he was in it, we just did it to get people to notice it, so they knew that it was going to be a different type of magazine. We didn't foresee that so many people would be offended. Because, I mean, it's not pornographic. And
it's pornographic or not, it's absolutely unacceptable, there's no doubt
I know
about that.
Yeah. We were wrong. I mean, I'm not claiming that I'm not trying to justify myself. We did wrong. I mean, we committed something that we weren't allowed to do.
Well, is there any reason, do you think, why the Arts Review should continue?
So we can redeem ourselves, I suppose.
Well, I think that's quite a good answer. I tell you what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some chores to do for the various school rules that you've broken. I'm going to accept, slightly against my better judgment, that this is a mistake you're not going to repeat. But I am going to say this, that this first edition of the Arts Review is the Arts Review on probation. And if it's not as good an edition as it ought to be, and in particular if you step out of line in any silly way, then I think you can take it that that is, unfortunately, the end of the Arts Review.
Dear Headmaster, I would just like to apologise for my advertising campaign for the Arts Review. I spoke with the Lower Master earlier today, and we both agreed that it was not only wrong on my part, but a pretty stupid thing to do anyway, considering the timing of it. I had not realised that people would actually be offended by my posters, and so I was very naive not to foresee that.
Tom, what happened with the headmaster?
He showed it to me. He flashed it up and he said, "So by this poster, do I take it that your magazine's going to be pornographic?" I said no.
Did he say it? Why did you do it, Tom?
Yeah.
Is he saying if it's not good enough?
Yeah, he said we're on probation.
Because...
Yeah. I suppose...
Well, he's really going to be... So you're going to have to be good and sort of censor any word that's...
Yeah, but I know, we got an article on... Are you the perfect lover? Which I don't think.
Oh, God.
Which, I'm not writing that, but it's going to be one of those... If you scored from 0 to 30, please count yourself a dead loss.
どこに行きますか？京都の支社に行きます。一人で行きますか？私の人と行きます。大阪にも行きません。大阪にも行きますか？
Возвращение на родину по-прежнему остается несбыточной мечтой для многих тысяч азиатских рабочих. Многие из них оказались в палаточных лагерях в Иорданской пустыне, где ситуация с каждым днем осложняется.
Okay, anything there? Obviously, you can see what it's about.
When you say Zona Zaliva, that means the zone of the Gulf, but sometimes you call it Zialiv. So what is the actual word? Is it Zialiv?
No, the word is Zaliv. That's the nominative. That is the genitive case, because Russian, as you know, is an inflected language. So this is the zone of the Gulf. So if you hear a familiar word with an unfamiliar ending, now you know why it changes. It's because it's in a different case. Okay, let's go on then. Дальше.
I'm a bit of a lefty, and in Eton that's a fairly rare thing, although I think the left-wing component is growing slightly. People regard me as a bit of a maverick here. I set up recently a society called the Discussion Forum. We have a number of current affairs societies here which invite a speaker down to give a lecture and then answer questions. And the special thing about the Discussion Forum is that it invites 3 or 4 experts in a particular field. I'm arranging one at the moment on the Gulf crisis. I really enjoy it because I'm interested in current affairs, and I just like the fun of organising something like this and of chairing it. I suppose I'm a bit of a megalomaniac.
Hello, my name's Piers Torday, and I'd like to welcome you to the 11th edition of the Eton News. You've bought the badges, seen the posters, read the news, heard the news... Sorry.
Right, last one, hopefully. Hopefully. Until we get across the road.
Hello, my name's Piers Torday, and I'd like to welcome you to the 11th edition of the Eton News. You've bought the badges, seen the posters, read the newspapers, heard the news, the Gulf crisis, Saddam Hussein, Iraq, Kuwait. But what exactly is it all about? In mid-September, a number of people involved met at the Discussion Forum to consider the crisis. We took our cameras along, hoping for an exclusive.
Tonight's speakers are Sheikh Mohammed Al Sabah of Kuwait, who is at the moment based at the embassy in London, Sir John Moberly, former ambassador to Iraq and to Jordan, who was also a political officer in Kuwait in the 50s. He currently works at the Royal Institute of International Relations. Dr. Peter Sluglet is lecturer in modern Middle Eastern history at Durham University. And Mr. Afif Safia is PLO representative in the United Kingdom. He's just joined us.
It does sometimes strike me that, we are a privileged place and we do get a lot of special things that people in other schools around the country can't get. I mean, not only because of merit, but also because of parental wealth. I have problems with that. I'm not sure whether it's totally morally right.
If I could address Mr. Safia, I see that the situation in Palestine that doesn't exist, is similar to the one in Kuwait, and I agree that the West shouldn't have a set of double standards. But I can't see that it has any direct bearing on the Kuwaiti crisis.
Sorry. Pick that up now. Excuse me.
I told you to empty that, you two. Now move it.
Well, I'm just going to drink it out, Carol. I don't want to waste my money.
I've been told. Time on there.
You're a hot crowd. They're all from
We should provide some way out, because otherwise, in the light of Vietnam, fighting it out may seem an attractive proposition.
Well, I think that it is important that we should pursue all possible diplomatic alternatives.
No, to edit his answer.
Okay, I think we have to, we do have to remain firm on one thing.
Chop down that stuff. Does it start off as if it's the beginning of the answer?
No.
Check.
Well, yes, it can, yes. I think it does.
We should provide some way out, because otherwise, in the light of Vietnam, fighting it out may seem an
It's actually rather a good point to cut in, because it answers the question as well.
Well, I missed you at Chambers yesterday, and I tried to catch them last night, but I don't think
I
you
mean, I can hardly, frankly, bear to look at you because you've been so slack and idle.
Yes.
I mean, I just, you're miles behind with your work, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, you've got a terrible lot of catching up to do. Have I had your notes?
Those are the notes are there.
I mean, I realise you've got other things to do, but honestly, we must keep up with it.
Yeah, and I'm cutting down on everything else now because I've just neglected that, I realise.
All right, all right.
So, do you know I could have one more extension on my essay until tonight?
Dear.
Because I'm halfway through it and I've done all the notes. I've done all the notes we have to do for today.
Have it by lock-up tomorrow without fail.
We'll have it by lock-up tonight, so.
Right, all right.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, the typical thing about the posters they put up. The editors would also like to apologise for any offence caused by their recent advertising campaign, which was both flamboyant and mistimed. Whatever that means.
Mistimed because you were here.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite a senior boy in pop was wants to write an article about AIDS. He was given the go-ahead as long as he didn't mention sex or condoms.
He wrote it, and then the words like condoms were taken out. He wasn't allowed to talk about sex. Eton boys don't have sex.
Eton boys do not have sex.
Yeah, obviously.
Even in the holidays. It's something we don't think about.
Not living with girls. You don't. You only see one side of anything, and I'm sure it can hinder your sexuality.
You're conditioned against girls, but then, I don't know, if you back away from that towards homosexuality, then you're even further pushed back into, you know, you're sort of crushed in the middle. And the thing against homosexuality is so much stronger than anything else in this school.
Like, you go to an away match or something, and you know you have communal showers, and all the guys from Stowe or something, they'll get in the communal showers and they have a shower, and all the guys from Eton sort of standing on the corner with their rugby shorts on, going,
It means there's a massive hang-up about nudity.
Yeah.
I mean,
which most other schools won't have,
most other schools don't have.
Coming back after my first holidays, I wasn't looking forward to the kind of first few days, getting sorted out back into the routine and waking up at 7:30. But when that's over, it's really good fun, and you just think of what would I be doing if I was at home. It'd be very boring. It's the Times and Express.
Thank you. Alex? Yeah, I've got it.
I am delighted to be once again at Eton, this time to celebrate with you an anniversary so notable that not even the most frivolous Etonian could let it pass without paying it due deference. But I dare say that you Etonians will be thinking less of those who have gone before you than of the present and future. It has always seemed to me that one of the virtues of Eton's system is its determination never to patronize youth, nor to underestimate its capacity for invention and imagination. Because those qualities are given full rein here, the rituals can acquire a meaning and the regimentation a soul.
I still think being here is too far removed from the outside world. I wouldn't send my son here. But then that's what my father said 25 years ago.
Hello, is that the American Embassy press office? Yeah, right. I'd like to find out an address. Hello, I wonder if you have an address.